I thought I would take a moment this Halloween to talk about the Grateful Dead. And to do so, I first wanted to talk about Over the Garden Wall. Over the Garden Wall is a classic animated cartoon that is about two brothers who make their way through 1930s stylistic America. It feels like an old Fleischer cartoon. It definitely has the legacy of the creepiest of the Betty Boops in it. As the brothers go throughout this world, they are running away from things that seem dark and eerie and things that seem more than real, and definitely things that are drawn 100% from years and years and years of American folklore. We've got pumpkins, we've got dancing, we've got frogs, we've got old style steamboats. That is Over the Garden Wall, and that is also the Grateful Dead. There is a connection between the two in that the Grateful Dead also seems to specifically have this 1930s, 1940s eerie aesthetic. I believe it was Jerry Garcia who once said that the Grateful Dead sort of spoke from a dark place. They spoke about the news of the darkness from what we call Americana. And if you think about some of their lyrics, this is absolutely true. In Jack Straw, we have the lines, Jack Straw from Wichita cut his buddy down, dug for him a shallow grave, and laid his body down. This is not the only murder that is in the Grateful Dead lyrics. Direwolf, for example, also tells the story of being really, really sick and having a giant wolf coming into your window. When I awoke, the direwolf, 600 pounds of sin, was waiting at my window. All I said was, come on in. Death and dying are, as you can expect from a band called the Grateful Dead, a key component. Even stars in their destruction are romanced in a song like Dark Star. The Grateful Dead itself plays over and over and over again with light and darkness. Light pierces the darkness pierces the light like a Taijitu symbol. This is, of course, deeply contrasted with the idea that the Grateful Dead are a band that is about levity and light, people spinning as they dance, people zoning into the bass of Phil Lesh, an idea that it is a sort of circus, a free-for-all, a libertarian, to use the more classical meaning, place, a state to be, a temporary autonomous zone. However, in this place of carnival atmosphere, we have the liminal state of the Grateful Dead themselves, like the liminal state that is Over the Garden Wall. And so I wanted to think about exactly why this might be the case. In folklore, of course, the Grateful Dead is a ghost or a dead person who had not received a proper burial, but a traveler encounters them and helps them to their rightful place. It is sort of a predecessor and definitely a relative of the vanishing hitchhiker mythology we have, which again is an Americanized version of a more ancient mythology. We love to do this in America. We love to take things from the old world and we love to Americanize them. Look no further than, for example, Sleepy Hollow, and look no further than the song Ghost Riders in the Sky, which is definitely about the wild hunt. The Grateful Dead themselves are, of course, a band that is tinged and touched with death, even from the self-destruction of Pigpen, who, as his gravestone says, is now and will always be a member of the Grateful Dead. The same, of course, with Jerry Garcia, who could not outrun sort of the death that had been chasing him over and over and over again throughout his years with his addictions and with his health problems. That the band has continued onwards in various forms suggests that the Dead cannot literally die. Already being dead, they are grateful in that they have had the experience of life. As a fan, and as I'm sure many fans also are, the ability to feel this play between light and dark, between death and the living, between the very, very specifically weird and disturbing Americana that the Grateful Dead exhibit in songs like The Candyman, which has a line like, "Good morning, Mr. Benson, I see you're doing well. If I had me a shotgun, I'd blow you straight to hell." Even in something like Ramble on Rose, which, for example, cites Jack the Ripper, just like Jack the Ripper, just like Mojo Head, just like Billy Sunday in a ragtime shotgun band. We have specifically the high and the low, the religious and the non-religious, all mixed up in something that can be vaguely described as neo-psychedelic Americana. That is why the Grateful Dead can also specifically pull from all over all the different currents that become American popular music, and it's why they are one of the best interpreters of Bob Dylan's lyrics. There is nothing more Grateful Dead, even though it is a Bob Dylan song, than something like Desolation Row. They're selling postcards of the hanging, they're painting the passports brown, the beauty parlors full of sailors, the circus is in town. The circus being in town definitely defines the deadhead way of life, the way of going from concert to concert, the way of obsessively trading and defining in these psychedelic spaces, these spaces that are liminal states. And that, just like Over the Garden Wall, is really what the Grateful Dead is about. And that is the point of the negative, of the mean, of the murders that seem to inhabit the space psychically in the Grateful Dead's lives. Mama Tried, I turned 21 in prison doing life without parole. Me and My Uncle, a song about a cowboy who murders his uncle and takes his money. Song after song after song is about death, destruction. Like I told you, what I said, steal your face right off of your head. But because these songs play with what is so dark, what is so disturbing, what is so real about the world, we can elevate and we can celebrate, even in the darkness, exactly what makes life worth living. So that when we finally bite it, we too become the Grateful Dead.